You're in the trench with the TrenchFoot Society. Tonight we've got reinforcements crawling over the parapet. Sarah from Blood and Benediction, an underground zine steeped in mud, faith, and fire. And Auntie from Diceverse, forging strange new battlefields where dice decide fate and creativity survives the bombardment. We're talking zines, grimdark, and keeping the hobby alive when everything's falling apart. So lock in, light a candle to the hobby gods, and welcome to the TrenchFoot Society.
My name's Antti. I'm this dude that people on the internet call also Diceverse, and I do 3D sculpting for a living. And currently I'm just doing Trench Crusade stuff, or alternative stuff for Trench Crusade, not really the official. But yeah, that's what I do. Like in a very, very short.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you. And Sarah, if you would.
Yeah, sure. So my name's Sarah, otherwise known as Brush Tour or Brush Tour Inc. I am a commission painter, and I also work as the creative director and general dog's body for Blood and Benediction, which has been fun. It's hopefully we get to talk about it.
Awesome. Yeah, we'd love to go delve a little bit deeper into that. But before we get into the fun stuff, we always like to start out with, what have you been doing this month in the hobby? So, Auntie, can you give us a little bit about, what fun stuff have you been working on? Considering everything you do, I feel like you're going to have a lot of fun stuff here.
Oh my God. I wish actually that I had more time to do hobbying, because most of the time I just wake up in the morning, I have my coffee, and then I start sculpting, and then I stop when it's 9 p.m. I go to bed. So it's really hard for me to find actually time to do hobbying, but I've been now getting back to Age of Sigmar. It's like my the original game I started with back in, I think, 2nd edition. So I've been painting some Flesh Eater cards because there's a tournament next month. So I was going to participate in that. So that's mainly, been practicing some painting different types of skin for the ghouls and so on. I haven't actually painted Trench Crusade stuff in, I think, for a few months now, unfortunately.
Nice. Yeah, I've actually just been getting into some Age of Sigmar, and as far as painting, I often get made fun of for the fact that I haven't painted much of anything in quite a few months.
I do have to say, though, the Flesh Eater Court sculpts are really, really good. I've used a few of them to make a Scabies gang for Necromunda.
They are so beautiful.
Nice.
One of the best Games Workshop has made.
Really good.
The older ones are a bit iffy. I really don't like them, so I ended up 3D printing and combining some different STLs to make some of my own. But the modern ones, they really have this good balance of I don't know if people know the idea behind the army, the delusions, and how they believe that they are knights, even though they are these cannibalistic creatures who are kind of between living and death. So they are not totally undead, and they really had a success bringing that kind of idea into the actual sculpts. They are wearing these tattered robes and bones, and they kind of look regal in a way, but at the same time a bit mad.
Yeah, I love the judge that's wearing the guts. That's the judge's wig. I'm sorry, Sarah. What were you gonna say?
No, I was going to say those knights, the Morgberg knights on the back creatures. I have too many Age of Sigmar armies, and I still looked at them and just went, but I could start another one.
You can always start another one.
Yeah.
Where would I put it? I don't know. I don't care. I just want to paint those.
Yeah, I started out with 40K, and just the silliness that is Skaven has made me finally have to break into Age of Sigmar. And I haven't played a single game of it yet, but I've already got a whole boatload of Skaven built and put on the shelf and need to start painting those.
I've got
and it's such an easy army to collect because you have 200 clan rats in your list probably. So
there's already entirely too many clan rats on the shelf.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is you actually also have a Mordheim warband.
Yes.
Oh, that's true. And then the new Skaven sculpts are pretty sick. They really killed it with that line.
It does actually hurt me how much better the Age of Sigmar stuff looks than the 40k stuff.
That is one of the ironies. They're getting a lot of the sauce, like Age of Sigmar is getting all the like the fun, like interesting stuff, and then 40k is like, here, have another Ultramarine. You'll love it.
Another Marnius Calgar.
Do you want a Primaris Lieutenant? I want a Primaris Lieutenant. How about 5?
You'll eat your Ultra Slop and like it.
Look, we're making a 3rd Lieutenant Titus.
It's Captain Titus now.
Oh, please excuse me. But Sarah, how about you then?
Well, I kind of in the same way. I'm painting for other people from about 6 in the morning till about 6 in the evening. But I got a reality check of, hey, you have a lot of stuff for yourself to do. You probably should get around to do some of that. And at Christmas, my partner, I had a commission lined up that ended up, the guy ended up losing, well, I'm not going to go into it, but he couldn't continue that commission for Krieg, and I was just overwhelmed. I just wanted to do Krieg, and that's all I wanted to do, that's all I wanted to paint. My brain was just, oh, you really want to do this? So Christmas time rolled around, and I got handed, with a wry smile, the new Battle Force box for the Krieg. And so I was just like, right, set aside weekends. I'll paint for everybody else on Monday to Friday, and on the weekends I will paint for myself. And as I got it built, my partner told me, oh, by the way, when you finish that, I'll buy you a new box. What? It's like, yeah, every box that you finish, I'll buy you another box. This Christmas gift is ongoing. I'm just like,
oh, somebody's feeding the addiction.
That's a keeper.
Oh yeah. I mean, he
nice.
got an entire Space Wolves army for Christmas, so like we go back and forth. It's the worst thing of having a partner that also does the hobby is that there is no sort of form of checks and balances.
It's just a giant negative feedback loop.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, if you get that box, can I get a box? Yeah, let's do that way. All right. Do you want some more? Yeah, we want some more.
So, like, look, I bought myself this one, but don't be mad, I bought you this.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, I've got them all built, spending my time on them, and it's one of those things where I'll just get through maybe a unit on a weekend and feel good about it. Yeah, I might put it up so you can have a look at the trial model that I've done.
Oh yeah.
See that. Love Krieg, so.
Yeah, if you send anything over, we can definitely put that up in the Discord when the episode goes live. Yeah, I've been strongly avoiding doing Krieg. I really like them. I managed to keep myself from building an army. I recently did the kill team. I finally assembled that, and I still need to paint it like everything else that I have. But I was like, if I can at least put this together, I'm like, that'll satisfy me, and I don't need to start building a Krieg army, because for ages I've been collecting files. What I want to do is I want to make an entire Astra Militarum army, but theme it with just print out Krieg dudes for the actual guys, to have the whole theme for it there. And I'm like, I don't need to start that on top of Tyranids and everything else that I've got going on. I'm like, I have a bad habit of picking up horde armies and just having a million models everywhere.
You, sir, are lying to yourself.
No, I don't need it, Johnny. I don't.
We are the worst addict feeders. If you just get a bunch of us together, we go, no, you can do that other army. That's fine.
Oh yeah, that's my horrible checks and balances is my buddy that got me into gaming years ago. Whenever I'm like, I really don't need this, but I really want the final push. As I message him and I'm like, I'm thinking about getting this, and he'll just send me the memes that just of the Emperor that just says, do it.
Exactly.
But yeah,
no, exactly.
I've been mostly working. Recently, I've been doing a lot of 3D printing. I mean, I'm always doing 3D printing. I do a lot of our for our local group. I print stuff, so I've got my 2 printers running. I think one of them just finished before we started recording, and the other one's got another couple hours to go on. I think some stuff for some 1-page rules that one of the local guys had asked, commissioned me to print out for him. I've got the vast majority of a Land Raider sitting on my desk that needs to be, finished magnetizing and getting that thing together. It's been here for, I don't know, probably 2 weeks, 3 weeks now, because I haven't put enough time into it because, life and work and all that have been keeping me away. That seems to be the common theme for everybody, that you don't have enough time for hobby stuff.
By Land Raider, you mean Sturm Panzerwagen A7B?
No, see, I told you, every time you mention that, it gets pushed back another 24 hours. Johnny wants these giant tanks for terrain pieces. And I did one for him before, and I was like, yeah, at the scale for Trench Crusade, it should be this big. And he was just like, I want it 50% bigger. I'm like, that's bigger than a house. And he's like, yeah, but it looks cool.
Oh, yeah.
Cool.
Rule of cool, my man, rule of cool.
Do you remember the original art piece by Factory Fortress, where there is the large tanks forming like this line behind some trenches and bunkers?
And the one that's like the size of a factory in the background with a gun probably as long as a modern day battleship.
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah, exactly.
So you could literally have like one tank in the so-called original size and have like 2 full games being played on it. Like just the whole table is just the large tank.
Just there you go, Johnny. You were talking about needing another board idea. We'll just make an entire board that's a gigantic tank.
Yeah,
That'd be pretty sick.
Just actually would be very cool. Like
fighting on the back of a tank, and then you could like fall off and stuff, like hit people off. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Have to roll for a random event as one of the turrets swings around, so everybody has to take a test to see if they get out of the way.
I think the next one I'm going to do is probably going to be a Levant desert type board.
Oh yeah, that's gonna be cool.
How about you, Eric? What have you been doing in the hobby this month?
Speaking of Levant, I have been doing some final touches on this Sultanate warband. I took a holiday break, and I also did a kind of like a palette cleanser project. I'm working on some Yellow Heroes of the Imperium. That's right, the Marines Malevolent. I'm doing a small squad of those guys, and kind of kicking myself because I'm like, I'm going to do this in the clean heavy metal style, and it sucks. I do not recommend doing a yellow and black themed power armor squad just by hand, like no airbrush or anything, and trying to do the highlights and shit. It sucks ass.
Horrible.
Oh yeah.
Eric, do you know how many hazard stripes I've done for my Necromunda board?
Oh, I play Iron Warriors, so I was like, I thought it was it should be fine. I do a lot of hazard stripes, but just like the way it is, like the way their armor is, and how like it's all black in the center, so I have to like put the brush in the center. I should have done it in some assemblies. It's a lot of regret.
So you're just a sucker for punishment then, really?
Yeah. I mean, I'm always like gassing myself up with the next project. I'm like, yeah, it should be fine. I can knock it out in a week or something, and then it just turns into this huge quagmire. But I think all of us wargamers are a little masochistic in some way with this hobby, in some aspect or another.
Yeah, my buddy makes fun of me because I always joked with him with 40K. I started with Black Templars because I was like, yeah, I'm just going to put helmets on everybody. I hate painting skin. I'm terrible at it.
Yeah.
And then as soon as he saw what I chose for Trench Crusade, he's like, you chose Black Grail. I'm like, yeah, they're cool. He's like, it's all zombies. It's a ton of skin. And I'm like, yeah, don't ask questions.
Yeah. Well, the nice thing with the Grail is if it looks like shit, you did your job,
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, they're rot zombies. They don't have to look healthy.
Yeah.
And what about you, Johnny? You got anything new and interesting you've been doing?
So I just finished, speaking of punishment, I've been doing way too many bricks. And
Oh yeah, that's
Oh
right.
yeah, we're seeing those bricks.
I just finished a massive house with like an attached garage for the town board. That's all brick. So that's finally finished. That's off my table as a kind of a palette cleanse. I had Mike print another Sniper Priest in like a tougher resin because I was tired of my original Sniper Priest, the barrel breaking off just by looking at it. So I've been painting him up to match the current color scheme of my Red Brigade. And then I've been working on, slowly but surely, I've been working on a tank terrain piece. And I have a few things for big bads for upcoming campaign that I'm currently writing for the group. And that's pretty much it. I do have, the next building I'm going to be doing is the Rune Factory from Diceverse.
Oh,
So
that's
that'll
nice.
be, yeah, that'll
More
be
bricks.
the next. Yeah, I know, more
I'm
bricks.
so sorry.
It's as soon as I printed that out and gave it to him, he's like, is that brick or is it stone? And I'm like, I don't know. It looks like bricks to me.
It's all bricks. It's all bricks. And especially with the factory kit, there isn't like plaster or anything to change it up.
See, I told you, Johnny, from the mouth of God, it's more bricks.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm going to be making more next month. In the
Yes.
big buildings. So good luck with that.
At least that one was easier. Was the other main terrain pieces we found were, I wish I could remember the creator's name, but they were for a smaller scale game.
Yeah, they were like, what, 15 millimeter?
Yeah, like they're tiny. They're blown up by like 215% or something like that. I tried to do the scale conversion and it wasn't right. I just threw Trench Pilgrim in my slicer and just scaled up the building until he looked about the right size in the doorway. And I was like, good enough. And I've just saved, I'm like, whatever scale that was, which I think was 215%. I'm like, all the other buildings. I just always do at that scale.
Yeah. I always recommend people, if they are unsure of the scale, to just upload a model to the slicer and then just see how it looks.
So with the Rune Factory, I'm contemplating either pinning it together or just leaving it all separate pieces. So I'm just going back and forth in my head on that.
I feel like it'd be easier to paint if you left it separate. Because it's pretty good sized.
Yeah, and with the factory, I'm not sure. I think the pieces in that one, you really cannot stick them together. Like they are designed to work separately. So there isn't like straight lines with like good places to actually put some magnets on. If we are talking about the same kit, the one with the 2-story factory with like rooms, the large.
If I was gonna put it together, it would be wouldn't be magnetized. It would be pinned with brass rods.
Yeah. I can see that working. Yeah. You just need to create some sort of like very large space for it. But you can actually create it in multiple different ways. So if you don't want the whole building, you can just have like a few separate pieces that you can then put next to each other, and it kind of forms the full building. So it's a bit easier to store and probably to build.
True.
See, that's the cool part. I just don't have to worry about storing it. I just print it and then throw it at Johnny, and it's his problem.
Yeah, thanks.
Which is funnier because Johnny has a lot less space than I do. So.
No, that's fair. Good to have friends.
It's not that I have less space. I just need to organize better, and that's another thing I'm going to be working on coming up. Is just rearranging my workspace.
Oh my God. This man has more sprues than I think I've ever cut plastic out from, and he still has them sitting on the shelf.
Man, I have sprues.
Hang on. I just heard a guilty groan.
Out of them. If you cut them, you can have more bricks. So then you can actually manually build all the buildings, like brick by brick.
And there are a few pieces I've done that where I've cut up sprue to make brick to make it more fit in with some of the other buildings in the rubble piles?
Yeah, it actually works.
Yeah, do that for basing sometimes, but I just don't have the patience to do a lot of bricks, a lot of bricks, like cut up that much sprue.
So, also speaking of hobbying, we still have our sponsor, Spray Gunner. And if you go to spraygunner.com and use our affiliate link, which we'll post on the show notes, you can get 15% off or 5%
5% off.
Yeah, 5% off your entire purchase on all your airbrushing and painting and hobby supplies by using code TFS5OFFSG at checkout.
Awesome. So I say, let's dive into what you guys do. So, Sarah, if you want to kind of start and give us an idea of what is Blood and Benediction.
So, Blood and Benediction is a Patreon. It's in the form of a Patreon, but it's a e-zine where we speak to get in contact or have different creators in the Trench Crusade community get in contact with us, and we put out their work, but we do it in a form of giving lore, giving alternate scenarios for people to play with. Usually the creators provide a mini or two, or in the case of Complicated, he provided 8 minis for our readers. We try to make it feel very much in universe. We want to have people feel like they are in that Trench Crusade world. They are finding this little scraps of information about stuff that maybe isn't covered, that isn't on the map, that isn't covered in the lore. Just these little bits and bobs for people to really get the feeling of Trench Crusade.
Yeah, I know we've talked a little bit about a couple of things, and I really like some of the kind of homebrew stuff that you guys have been working on. I believe it's already public, is the kind of solo play. I can't remember what you guys have called it. I know that's
Engine.
Yeah. I know that's one that I've really wanted to try, specifically because I live here in Florida, and it's not uncommon for a hurricane to hit and be out of power for a day or two. And I was like, you know what? I'm like, it'd be pretty cool to just be able to set up a table and sit in the dark and, just run a solo game of Trench Crusade.
Have some hurricane rules.
Yeah, exactly. We imagined it as something people could do if they couldn't get to a community, or they, friendly local game store was closed for whatever reason. But knowing it's there for people in dangerous weather, that's I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
Like, is there a hurricane outside? Well, guess what? Trench Crusade doesn't have to stop for you.
Exactly.
Like desert island rules. But yeah, I love that because it's like, I mean, if you guys didn't know, like Trench Crusade started as from an e-zine. Like it was I think it was James from 28 Mag. He just like reached out to Thomas and Mike, and he was like, hey, do you want to make a game out of this? And it was, and then that got the ball rolling. So it's just like perfectly in the spirit, I think, of the hobby. And just kind of the vibe that like Trench Crusade is trying to do, and I'm loving like everything you're posting, and another thing is like you're highlighting a lot of like really dedicated fans, and like third parties that who are like really putting so much effort into the universe and that's in the spirit. That's how it started, right? That's how all of this started.
I mean, there's creators out there that make these wonderful works of art, really. I mean, they're STLs, and they make them, and we really want to get people's eyes on them. It's a case of, yeah, sure, everybody knows like the big names and they know the stuff, but if they've not experienced, hey, look, there are so many more artists out there that are putting out beautiful work, and why don't we lift them to the light and say, hey, look at this. This is really cool. You should have a look at it. And trying to go back to that, like the whole thing with the e-zine, it's trying to have that old school fan community.
Yes, and I'm getting that, and like, it seems like everybody's like, I love how it's like, it keeps the immersion in there, like the text is very flavorful, like it's I'm loving it.
It's balancing that. I think if I left Pablo to his own devices, and like I cannot take any credit for the writing. Pablo is amazing. He's a partner in this. He does all the. I'm very butterfly. He'll say something and I go, oh, I've got a great idea for a video. Oh, I've got a great idea for some artwork to go along with this, and I'll flitter off and I'll come back and I'll be like, here's a video and isn't this great? And I'll paint the minis and I'll come back and go, oh, here's the thing. He's the one that'll put these wonderful bits of prose in, but sometimes we've had to go, maybe we need to make it a bit simpler.
Dial it back a little bit.
He's the one that reels you in.
You will get this little footnote where it will explain things, but his work is beautiful. Like I cannot speak higher of it. It's high enough of it. It's wonderful, and it's still in awe when I've tried to type out a post, and it's like, oh, he does such good work.
Yeah, it's always great working with people that are passionate about what they do. And I know that I've had a couple of people that I've talked to, and when I've mentioned you guys, and I try to explain it, I think the easiest way, just because what people generally know, is I'm like, it's basically like a community-driven White Dwarf, but for Trench Crusade.
It's fanatic. It's fanatic, and I don't know if I mean, I'm still on the cusp of being a bit too young to have collected them, but I've read enough of them when I was a kid to go, no, this is what it's meant to be. It's meant to be this little, in-universe, here's a little magazine full of cool stuff that's just going to make you excited.
Yes, the battle reports and all that. Love it.
Yeah.
Citadel Journal comes to mind for me.
Yeah.
I don't know if any of you guys remember that.
I've seen it, but
yeah, I think I've seen like covers, but I don't think I ever like opened it.
Yeah, to be fair, I've barely opened a White Dwarf before, aside from like, oh, this one has one thing that I want in it. I will pick this up.
Shame.
Yeah, I know.
And like if you've been around in the 40K scene for a while, like a lot of the coolest factions come from just White Dwarf, or it was like a homebrew from like a dev or something. Like Krieg, for example, it first showed up in a White Dwarf.
Exodites.
Exodites, the Death Corps of Krieg. A bunch of stuff was just like, stuff. It came from like battle reports or whatever. Like the Iron Cage, which is like this big conflict in Iron Warriors lore. That was just like a game that between the Imperial Fists and the Iron Warriors that they just played. So.
Yeah, that was one that I always thought was funny, was whenever I've talked to people about it, is they're like, why an e-zine? Like, why wouldn't you do a blog or a website? I mean, I think the idea of an e-zine is such a cool idea because it's different. It's, you don't see that right now. I haven't seen e-zines for a decade or two.
Yeah, I mean, there's an element of, I'm going to sound like such an old camuffin, but it's this kind of amount of attention, like that you can read through a short story. That's fine. You can read through a post and a short story, and that's fine. You can read through a scenario. I feel like if we did it as a blog, people wouldn't go back through it. People would just see that first bit and kind of go, oh, right, that's fine, and whatever.
They just kind of glance through the first bit.
Yeah, exactly. Well, because we want to draw attention to the people that we feature, having these nice short snappy, here's this, here's a scenario, here's a mini, just fucking look at it, guys, it's so cool.
Look at this thing I like. I think you like it too.
It's dragging them by the scruff of the neck and holding them to the picture and go, look, awesome, yeah, cool, great. That's why it's more of the e-zine format falls into that perfect. Look at this, look at this, look at this, look at this, cool. don't know if you heard me snapping my fingers. That's probably not going to.
I heard something there.
It works. Yeah. But that's such a cool way to approach. I really like it. Like when you actually have like multiple things in a nice package to actually consume. So it's not just separate tidbits. Because I think that kind of gets easily lost in the noise of the internet. Kind of if you do some like cool blog post or like separate story or something, it always stays as a separate. There's like no cohesion.
And the one thing that we started doing in the last few bits is doing interviews with the creators. You know, asking them about their journey, asking them about what brought them into it, and they've seemed surprised that we want to know. You know, I think it's a bit of modesty with people where it's like, hey, so tell us about yourself, and they're like, oh, okay, and they'll go away and they'll sort of give us something, and it's nice to have the creators up front for at least one of the things.
I think it might be for creators that, well, I don't personally know that many, but I feel like quite many they sculpt their stuff or they release their stuff like every month or so, but there isn't like maybe that much interaction between the community and the creators themselves. So they kind of have this distance between them. So doing interviews and showcasing them, it kind of puts them in a spotlight where they maybe are not so used to be if they don't have that kind of like constant communication with their own community. So
see, and now we get to turn the spotlight around on you.
Oh, I'm feeling the spotlight.
I was just about to say, it's like I was like using a lot of the Diceverse sculpts, and so it's like, oh, this is the guy that's making the Taquin creature. So it's nice to have that.
Yeah, my first 3D printed terrain that I started doing for my Trench Crusade boards was the Diceverse bunkers.
Oh yeah. That's definitely a fan favorite, if I might say so. I think it's when it comes to the bunker, I think, and also overall the why kinda my stuff got picked up. Of course, I hope the sculpts are good, and it seems they are because people are enjoying them, and I see them popping up here and there. But I think it was the timing, because when the Kickstarter for Trench Crusade launched and it was wrapping up, it was like October or something when they, well, not wrapped up, not like they were delivered, but they had the funding period. But anyways, yeah. So at that moment, one of my friends, like hobby friends, he was sending me like messages about like, hey, this is a cool game and so on. And I kind of glanced over it and I was like, okay, yeah, there's another miniature game coming and so on. I didn't at that point paid so much attention.
Oh no, another hobby I have to do.
Yeah, exactly. Because our hobby group is like famous inside of our own group for we always start like new games, but we never actually get to play them. It's always like there is one or two persons who kind of get the hype train going, and then people kind of start investing in it, but nobody actually finishes like a whole warband or so on. So I've gotten disappointed so many times. So I was like, no, I'm not going to get myself hyped for another game and then be disappointed again. So I kind of like just brush it off. But yes, long story short, at that point, maybe I have to now actually go back in time, like not to prehistoric times, but for people to understand like how the process went to how I'm in this position right now. So I'm not like trained sculptor like through college or university or anything like that, and I never done anything else than like 3D models for 3D printing. I don't have like training for like computer games or anything like that. But a few years ago, I think it's now already 3 years ago, I had been doing like science stuff because I have background in biology and sustainable development, and environmental like research. So I had been doing that at the same time I was finishing my university studies for like many, many years. Like I did that, I think like 6-7 years on and off. And I was thinking like, what should I do with my life? Because I didn't find that kind of enjoyment doing the science stuff. So I was thinking like, okay, now I have managed to save enough money. So maybe I will try to do something that I always kind of enjoyed, because I had dabbled just a little bit like with Blender, the sculpting stuff. And I was like, maybe actually I could make it into a career. And then I just decided that I will now spend like 1 year and just practice the sculpting and try to make a career out of it. And then the summer before the Kickstarter launched for Trans Crusade, I was actually starting to make like 3D models, like alternative models for Age of Sigmar. And I was putting them up, and they were kind of like, some people bought them, and it was like showing some like promise that, okay, maybe this is the direction I go. And then that continued like the summer and the fall. And then the Trans Crusade came, and I was introduced to it. And first I was like, nah, I'll just do this like Warhammer thing because there is more audience in that. But then I decided that, okay, I will give it a go. And I made like a few terrain pieces and just threw them out there, and people really started picking it up. So then at that moment I knew like, okay, this thing actually has like wings. And then I decided like after a few months that I will just fully focus on this. And I think the timing was like critical, because as a sculptor, even though I'm like okay / good or something like that, but I'm not at the level of people who have been doing this for like 10 years. So.
Well, I know in our group, you're definitely one of the bigger names that's known for terrain pieces and even for some of your minis that you have. I know I've got a couple of them, and I've printed out a handful of your pieces for multiple people in our group.
Oh, that's so nice to hear. I think it's like, I want to at the same time believe that it's because they are so good, because of course I have to be proud of something I do, but I think it's actually like it's the timing. Because we were talking about exposure, kind of. Sarah was mentioning about like bringing attention to the sculptors and the creators and so on. So I think like when it comes to me, the timing was just perfect, because I was trying to find the niche for me to succeed. And then there was this like empty hole that was the Trans Crusade terrain, because you can of course use like 40K stuff and so on, but it's not exactly the same. It's kind of like the aesthetics are a bit different. So then, and it's also like, because when it comes to like brutalistic architecture, it's also like as 3D models, when you grasp like the basics and so on, it's easy to implement that kind of stuff, because the shapes are not like too complex.
Yeah, that's the one thing I'm not a sculptor or anything. I dabble with some 3D design and work and all that. Similar, I don't have any kind of background. I work in IT security, and I have a degree in accounting. But for the love of the hobby, I like to do kit bashing and digital stuff. But I've done 3D printing just for fun, and from an engineering mindset, I've done that for over a decade. And I can't tell you how many times somebody will be like, oh, I've got this cool file. Can you 3D print it? And I'll look at it for 10 seconds and I'm like, no, this would be extremely hard to 3D print, just because I'm like, whoever designed this made it because it looks cool. They did not have 3D printing or manufacturing at all in mind, because there's just the geometry of this is nigh impossible, and it's a lot of the stuff I've done from that you've made. I'm like, it's very clear that there was a mindset, during the, designing it, that it was like, this is going to be printed, and trying to explain that to someone that doesn't understand is so hard. And I really appreciate it from someone who does a lot of printing and gets asked to print stuff all the time, where I've gotten a lot of especially like terrain pieces. I'm like, yeah, I don't even have to support it. Like there's basically it's supportless, or if it needs it, it's very minimal, because it's designed from the beginning as something that's going to be 3D printed.
Yes, exactly. I think like there is so. Oh, sorry, Sarah. You go on.
No, I was
just keep
just
babbling
going to
otherwise.
glaze you. I was going to glaze you more. It's genuinely a sign of. I do a lot of 3D printing, and I've seen so many different files here and there, and it's a sign of somebody who knows what the hell they're doing. That you can look at a model when you've loaded it up and go, there will be no issues printing this. This is done entirely so that this model comes out flawless, and it is really a sign of somebody who's just got the gift. So
So, thank you.
So another thing,
My video, I'm blushing, but
In fact, the heretic bunker that you did, I painted up, and it was actually featured in the terrain article for Trench Crusade.
yeah, I've noticed
Moving
like
on
they used a few of my pieces. I think there was also like was Wargaming Illustrated. They had the interview with who was it? Jervis and Johnson.
Jefferson.
oh nice,
There was, the bunker piece too. So that's super cool because that's like the greatest thing as a sculptor to do this kind of stuff is to see people actually use it and to see them paint it and see like how people are. It's actually bringing like joy to people. It sounds such a cliche, but it actually like in my mind it's really makes it like worth it. Because why
Yeah,
just make stuff if it's just
I know a couple of sculptors that I follow and work with. I do a little bit of side work doing resin supports. So I've got a small community that I work with and a couple of sculptors. And one of the guys, he constantly he'll give me stuff and he'll just hand it to me, and I'm like, I'll do the supports for it, man. I'm like, because I want to print it. I'm like, and he's like, can I give you money? I'm like, no, I want to do it because I want it. So I'm going to support it so that I can print it. Once I've done the supports here, you can have it, and he'll post it. And I'm like, because he's talked about before that he puts most of his stuff up for free just because he likes seeing it, printed and painted more so than he wants the money from it. He's like, I got a job. He's like, I enjoy seeing my stuff being made and seeing people enjoy it.
Yeah, it's kind of funny because the bunker is it's been featured in so many things at this point. Like I think at one point I thought it was like official terrain. Like I didn't look over. Like I know they have their official terrain. I never actually looked at each trench, and I was like, oh yeah, that's just like their bunker piece. They did a really good job. And then I realized I was like, oh, this is the Diceverse one. I think another thing that is great is that you put a lot of thought into what you're gonna sculpt, like the options, from a gaming perspective, because I have basically a warband of every main faction, and going through the rules, I'm like, man, this is really cool, or I want to use this in my list, but there's no model for it.
yeah.
And so there's clearly been some thought there, and just from a practical perspective, a lot of times I'll be like, why the hell isn't there a model for this? And then I'll look on Diceverse, so I was like, oh, he made one. Okay, I'll just I can use this one or whatever. So that's great. Clearly, there is some thought about which thing you're gonna do next.
Yeah. I think it's also when the sculptor is actually engaging with the game. So I think I have quite good idea where the game is at currently, and I always have the community in the Discord my own, and also all the other channels where I every day I speak with people about Trench Crusade. So I
nice.
kind of know the places where to ask if I don't know something. I usually have quite good hunch. Okay, this anointed guy probably needs. People are more likely going to use ranged options, for the Friends Ghosts, even though people said that melee is also okay. But stuff like that kind of gives me direction where to go, and also because I want to create a set that people can actually utilize to for the most of the options. Because I, as a solo guy, I'm doing this alone, so I cannot in most cases, I cannot create like every single option because that would literally just take too much time. But yeah, it's
Yeah, that's one thing that I also really appreciate that you do is that there's tons of cool sculpts that I've found because I've been wanting to do trench ghosts, amongst doing all of the different warbands, and I had started collecting files for trench ghosts, and I had found one or two really cool models, but it's like the creator only made a barbed wire banshee. Or they just made one sculpt and it's like, man, this is so cool, but it doesn't really fit with the other models that I have for trench ghosts. So it's like, I'm like, so the fact that like you've gone and you do, you try to get the most of, if not all of, what you can fit into a warband, and having all of those so that you can have that unity is something that I really appreciate when I find a sculptor that does good sculpts. The fact that you've actually thought through of, well, you're going to need this and you're going to need that and you got to have this. And, you might not have every single option with it, but I would rather have, a witch with the wrong, well, the witch is a bad one because she doesn't really have your options, but you'd have your guy with a machine gun instead of a rifle, but I've also got all of the other minis that go along in that entire warband.
Yes. Yeah. And it's also like I try to like if I don't provide the options, I kind of provide at least like empty arm poses. So if people know like the basics of kit bashing 3D, so
the modularity is a big part of it too.
Yeah, that's one that I've been very confused by when I find files to edit. It's so much nicer when you find a file and it's like you can load it up and it's like, oh, if you separate the shells on this, the arm and the weapon are just two different shells. So you can just pull one weapon out and just slip another one in there and then just merge that and print it out and you got what you want. I'm like, I don't have to spend the next 2 hours trying to carefully cut this out and sculpt the hand back together to digitally kit bash this. I mean, I like spending my time, and making slightly different poses on things. And I've gone through and I've taken minis and done the full, rigged it up in Blender just so that I can put it in a different pose and then re-support it and print it just so that, I get 3 Plague Knights and I don't want them to all look the same, so I'll spend way too much time doing that. And anytime I find somebody that's put the effort in to make it easier for me to actually digitally kit bash them, I highly appreciate that.
Oh, thanks. That's nice to hear. Yeah, and I've been receiving like feedback from people that's a thing that people really appreciate, especially like because the original kits from Factory Fortress, because most of them like lacked the options, and when it's like such a narrative campaign game, quite many people want to have at least like nearby option to let's say for the anointed to wear like a submachine gun or some sort of like machine gun, but when you only have like a few options, I think for the heretic anointed it was either the flamethrower or the axe. I think there wasn't others, right?
Yep.
So then it's so many options like left out, and it's quite hard to also like for somebody who doesn't have the experience in 3D to start suddenly then modifying the files and trying to find alternative weapons and then try to fit it to the pose and everything. So
that was one that I for our local group that I did a little bit of digital kit bashing on, just because we have a bunch of people that run Heretic Legion, and I had a lot of people complaining about that, where we'd be in game and as a Grell player, anytime I see fire on the board, I get a little bit worried, and I would always be like, what does he have? And they're like, oh, he actually has a machine gun. And so as much as I was like, I don't want to freaking make these because I don't run heretics and I don't like them and I don't like the anointed because they generally do a lot of damage to me. I was like, it will make
pucker.
Just a little bit. But I was like, you know what? It will make me feel a little bit better when I get on the board and I see the guy with a machine gun instead of a flamethrower. So I did have to spend quite a bit and had to explain that to some of the guys. I was like, look, this isn't just a matter of, it's not like your old school plastic kits where you can just snip off the hands and glue on a different gun. I am essentially doing that, but I'm doing it digitally, and I'm an idiot. I don't know. I don't do, I don't do this. Ironically enough, I do a lot more rigging and reposing than I do like the actual physical sculpting and all that. So, despite the fact that I've been told the rigging and part that I do for modifying them is significantly harder to do, for me that part is easy. Actually cutting parts out and resculpting it to make it look not boxy and look like I just stuck a cube in there and did a Boolean.
But I think actually, because I have zero experience on rigging, like literally, if somebody told me to gave me like a 3D model and said to rig it, I wouldn't actually know what to do. So because I just do it like manually, like each part like separately, like legs and so on. I have them as separate objects, and then they are like separated to the upper part and the lower part, and then I just kind of play around.
You just manually move them.
Yes, exactly. Because I at some point I looked into rigging, but then I was like, no, I already learned how to do it in this way, and then I was kind of like, okay, well, I'm fast enough, I believe, to do it in the like traditional way. So
see, I used it because I started doing it that way because for me, I could go in there and I could cut the hand off, and then just turn it so that the hand is slightly turned inward or put it at a slightly different angle. But then the problem was I couldn't figure out, I'm like, if I was doing it for real, I would just stick a little ball of green stuff in there or some putty and, nudge it around and make it kind of roundish. And, I could do that decently. But digitally, I was really bad at doing the sculpting and adding material and all this. So I was like, you know what, if I do the rigging, it'll automatically, I'm like, I can just click the auto, and when you bend the hand out of the way, it'll just warp the mesh and stretch it around, and I don't have to do any of that. So I did it a very weird way, but that was my way of getting around having to learn how to be a sculptor, because to me, I have a lot more of an engineering mindset, and I was like, this rigging is more math based and angles and setting a structure up and setting up and saying this can move so far and it affects it this much. I'm like, that to me, it just made more sense in my brain than trying to, just go, add material here and use the smooth brush. And I'm like, nope, my brain just can't handle it. I'm going to do it this way.
That's so cool because there is like multiple paths that lead to the same like destination, that you can do it in a way, like depends on the model, like how it is split into parts. You can do it like you say, like you create the rig and then you move the rig around, and then all the deformation and stuff happens automatically. Or you can do it like split into parts, and then you add like the digital sculpting into that. But there's actually quite it's so cool to see how people are doing the like digital kit bashing when it comes to Trans Crusade, because what I've been following the Discord, the unofficial official one. So there's quite many people who don't have like experience on 3D, or it's like their first like 3D printable miniatures they bought and thought they send it like to a friend or something to print, and then they just learned the digital kit bashing from like zero, like you did, but or, like in different ways. But they come up with so cool ideas, like combining like different kits. And some of them like look like really, it could be like professionally like made miniature, like that people understand kind of the aesthetics, so they find like similar parts and so on, and they like sometimes work like magically together.
And it's really fun to see what some of the people come up with. And I know there's been a whole controversy with the way that Factory Fortress is moving away from the digital side of things, because I think that's one of the big ones that I would imagine was super helpful for you, is just that once you started going towards Trench Crusade with doing terrain and pieces for that, specifically because kind of the origins of Trench Crusade was very focused on, they don't have box kits. You can't go to the store and buy something. It was all, buy digitally and do it there. I think that there was the crew running Trench Crusade was very much a, they're not gonna go to a store and buy terrain. They're not gonna go, buy your plastic, warehouses and terrain pieces. They're going to be much more focused towards, let me go buy some, cool looking terrain and just 3D print it.
Speaking of printing, though, one of the guys in our group, Walter, I think, has your licensing agreement.
Oh, that's nice.
I can't believe too how quickly he got that freaking. I think he had worked with you or something because he had the submarine that you did. Like, I swear to God, I saw that.
That was insane.
I saw that thing posted like on a Wednesday, and Thursday night is our game night, and like I walked into the game store, and I'm like, how did you print this already? I'm like, do you just have like 20 printers going? This thing's massive because it's like 3 foot long.
That was insane.
He printed 2 different versions of it, one water lined and one on dry dock.
Oh my God, there's so much to print.
I remember looking at that and I was like, man, that is cool as hell. Like, but only a complete lunatic would print that. And then I went to
next thing we know,
and then Walter was like lugging it in on like a cart, and I was like, what the hell is this? And I saw it was the damn submarine.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, mine. I need to get some pictures of it and post it. Was because like we've all mentioned before, we're all a little bit masochistic and like to hurt ourselves. I started working on the terrain board for the train scenario, which I need to work on.
Oh, nice. Yeah, we need a board for that. So
yeah, and I need to read through the new rules because it's slightly different in the newer rule set. But yours was really the only one that I found that was the train that matched up for the scenario perfectly. Yeah. So absolutely gorgeous. I have that.
No, thanks.
But my masochistic thing was I did it in resin.
Oh,
oh God.
So,
okay, good luck.
So many liters.
Oh no, I have the entire train printed out in resin.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it was monstrous. I did it all on a Saturn. I think that was back when I had the Saturn IV. But I did hollow it, so it wasn't too many liters of resin, but it was a lot of resin.
It's still quite an undertaking.
Yeah, so it's super cool.
Just wants me to finish it.
Yeah, I definitely want Johnny to paint it for me. But yeah, it was one of those ones where as soon as I saw that come out, I was like, that's cool looking. And then I was like, there's a scenario that needs this train. And I'm like, nobody else is making this train board. And I'm like, this is just a cool thing to print. I'm like, I'm going to try to do it. And then everybody was like, oh, you're just going to print it out? I'm like, yeah, but I want to do it in resin. I'm like, it's very obviously designed to be printed in FDM. Yeah. Like it's all meant to be done, with zero supports. And I was funny because I had somebody asking me like, oh, it says zero supports. Can you just, I'm like, no, that you can't do that. I'm like, I could do that in resin. I'm like, but I would have to throw away the build plate because you would never get that off of the build plate.
Yeah.
I'm like,
the hammer and the chisel.
Yeah. I'm like that build plate, I would just throw it away. There's no way you would ever get that off.
Yeah. I think I've seen actually like maybe like 3 people doing it on resin. I think.
Really?
Yeah. So you're not the only mad.
Yeah, apparently.
People who are crazy.
Yeah, exactly. It was definitely not easy. I put giant holes in the bottom of it so that I could support it internally and all that. I have a picture somewhere. I'll have to find it and post it.
Yeah, please.
Because the whole support tree came off in one piece. And all these supports just go up through the holes and spread out, and it took like 20 minutes to get the supports off of each train car because there's there's a 60 millimeter hole. There's 3 60 millimeter holes in the bottom of the train car, and all the supports reach up in and then spread out, so they're like flared out inside. And it just was so hard to get it off. But it managed to, once you got a corner going, you could slowly peel the whole thing off, and it all came off in one piece. I have a picture of it somewhere. It's pretty funny looking.
And I think like when there are crazy people like you who decide to print some of the which is definitely not meant for resin printing, I think it also helps because in a way when it's like a large object, so it's kind of like not as easy to break maybe when you're trying to get it off from supports.
Yeah.
And of course the wall thickness and so on. But it kind of has this enough structural integrity.
Oh yeah, they were thick enough that even with hollowing, I was like, this thing, I'm not worried about it breaking, because I've definitely had plenty of minis that I've lost an arm or a sword or something while taking it off of the supports. There's sometimes when people get me to print stuff for them, they'll end up with two of something, and I'm like, I expected at least one of them to break, but you got lucky and both of them came out. So here, I printed them, and I don't need it. But yeah, the train car ones, aside from the first couple of times I tried it where I had failures, just because it was such a big. It's such a large piece that even on my Saturn, which is a pretty decently sized printer, it took up most of the build plate, and when you get too much suction forces, it'll pop off the bed, or it'll deform and all that. So I've got probably 6 train cars that are messed up in the closet too.
You can make some ruined.
Yeah, exactly. That's
can destroy the train.
I have a gigantic box in my closet that every couple of months I'll take to the hobby store. That's just anytime I have a failed print, it goes in there. And I keep it for basing. Yeah, I keep it for basing bits because I have all kinds of different things, from either stuff that I'm printing for myself or printing for, other people that need stuff printed. So I've got terrain pieces, I've got tons of minis and all that. And it's so I just take it in and I'm like, hey, do you need dead guys for bases? I'm like, here's a whole box of dead guys.
Yeah. I'm slowly getting I have my own office room. I work from home. So it's slowly filling with all the test prints, because of course I need to test print everything I make. So it's slowly, I have a corner where there used to be one large cardboard box full of terrain. And now I have a second one on top. And I think if this space continues, I really need to stay away from too large terrain pieces, because when I have to test print them, of course I need to if the pieces are not almost identical, I have to test print each piece. So, and I don't have time to paint everything I test print. So I'm slowly.
See, you got to find yourself a Johnny. I test print stuff. So. I'm like, man, this is cool. Here you go, Johnny.
Oh, that's true.
Fuck you.
I will start sending Johnny all of my extra test prints. So.
There we go. Look, afterwards I'll give you his address.
Yeah. He's like, oh no. Johnny starts to hate the post office or the delivery guy.
Yeah, that's.
We don't send it collect. That's fine.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah, that's. I actually have, because like I said, I've worked with a couple of other sculptors for proxies for other games and such, and there's a handful of them that they've sent me, and I've supported them, and I'll test print them to be like, yep, see, here's the supports, here it works. So I have a lot of models that I'm either not going to use, or I'm not going to use it anytime soon. And occasionally I'll go up to the hobby store, and I've given those over to guys before, and it's always fun just taking it in, and they're like, "Are you sure?" And I'm like, "Yeah." I'm like, I don't need it. I'm like, I have a problem. I like printing things. I have too much fun trying to get it to work, and I don't have enough space to store everything.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, it's that moment where you discover a little Tupperware tub full of. Why did I print out a bunch of lizards? What was I planning to do with these? Why have I got a thing of ladders? And I'm just finding them.
Oh yeah. I occasionally will find a baggie. I have. It looks bad, because I get these little tiny Ziploc baggies, because I do a lot of printing of minis for stuff, and I was looking back at my Amazon order list, and I'm like, this looks like I'm selling drugs. Because I'm like, I bought 1,000, little dime bags because it's really handy when I 3D print, when somebody wants hey, can you give me the, trench pilgrims? And, I'm like, well, do you want just the one guy? Yeah. Cause I'm like, do you want just the one guy, or do you just want all the options so you can just print it? Cause I'm like, it takes up so little resin. Because a little arm doesn't. I'm like, I'm going to print it anyway, so I'm like, I can just fill the build plate with everything. It's going to take the same amount of time, so I'll just print out.
As long as you didn't buy a scale in the same transaction.
Yeah.
I'm just worried what my neighbour thinks, because the way I print, there's a window, and so all they will have seen is me going regularly up to this window, putting on some gloves, putting on a mask, and then doing some stuff.
Yeah, exactly. See, that's what I'm saying. Like when you look at my order history, is you see like the little baggies, rubber gloves, and filters for my mask, and I'm like, this doesn't look great.
And my vent that goes out of the window.
Oh, yeah. I probably look completely insane to my neighbors because I'll check on a print at like 3 a.m. like in my underwear with no shirt, and like I'll have like a respirator on my face, so I look like the guy from True Detective where he's just walking around the lawn with a gas mask and like a machete. Yeah.
I am the one who knocks.
Yeah,
I am the one who rolls dice.
I like posted a picture of that guy, and then I was like, "What my neighbors see at 3 a.m. when I'm checking on my printer."
Yeah. Luckily for me, I use the guest bathroom is my cancer room. That's where the resin printers are set up.
Oh, nice.
And so I get to cheat because I used to have the whole like vent set up and all that. I just turn the vent on in the bathroom, and I've got the respirator hanging on the wall right outside of it, so I can put that on and go glove up and go deal with prints, and then just close the door and turn the vent back on.
Wonders of a house.
Yeah, It do be helpful. So, kind of switching gears here, want to get into a little bit more of what you do with Blood and Benediction. In case anybody who isn't aware of these two, is we've got two different groups. There's Auntie from Diceverse and Sarah from Blood and Benediction. These are two separate things. In case that wasn't clear before, I didn't realize that until just now. That some people might not realize that this is two separate groups here. Doing kind of a dual interview here, and it's leading to a little bit we'll get into in the future here, where we're going to do some cross collaboration of doing some stuff all together.
Together with all of it.
Yep.
Exactly. Is there's going to be some fun stuff I think coming here in the future in 2026. It's still too early in the year. It is. It's still too early in the year. I still keep writing the wrong year on everything when I sign it. And kind of some of the stuff we were looking at, that I'd love to talk about, with you guys is what makes, what do you guys think about why Trench Crusade has taken off so much? What is it about the whole grim darkness, where obviously there's a certain company that's kind of taken the grim darkness and quote unquote does that. But I feel like Trench Crusade definitely is a lot more grim and a heck of a lot more dark. What is it you think that really kind of draws people to that?
Do you want the light-hearted answer or the answer that I think is?
Oh, give me the dark one.
The raw, brutal truth.
Gestures wildly around everything. I think there's unfortunately, and I laugh it's to stop myself crying. The world is a very scary place right now, and I think in the same way as people, I was kind of having this thought yesterday. It was in the same way that people will go for a curry and get the spiciest curry that they can, or they'll go for a dessert and get the sweetest dessert that they can. People are kind of worried about the world, so they want to experience the darkest, most nastiest, most brutal version.
Give me something that's worse than what I deal with daily.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or at least I don't live in the trenches.
Yeah, I can definitely, I could see that as a reasoning for it.
It's definitely like, a huge part of the appeal of like, 40K was kind of the daddy of that, right? Like, it's like, oh, wouldn't you want to live in your favorite fantasy IP? It was like, hell no, like for 40K, and now for Trench Crusade, yeah, never.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely one where, I done a lot with 40K. It was kind of my first, tabletop game and entry into the whole ultra nerd stuff. Not that I was a nerd before that. I've been a computer guy and all that for ages, but getting into that, and I was like, oh, this is so much fun. But definitely when I first saw Trench Crusade, I'm like, oh, this is actually this is not, the grim darkness for kids. I'm like, this is legitimately I got to be careful with this.
This is, yeah, it's the moment where you upload your pictures of your models and you think, oh, maybe I have to censor this. Do I have to put a not safe for work moment on this?
It's very R-rated.
Yeah, that was the fun one. Is my neighbor, his son, he's only 9 years old, and he just loves, coming up with his own rules. He'll play a game and then he's like, I've got better rules. I can make this better. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. And he had heard, me talking to his dad, my buddy, about Trench Crusade. And, I'm like, oh yeah, it's fun. It's easier to play. I'm like, you should come over and, play one night. Cause he never wanted to do 40K. Cause he's like, I don't have time. He's like, I got kids and all this. And I'm like, well, Trench Crusade, I'm like, you can learn Trench Crusade in about 5 minutes. I'm like, do you understand that if you roll 2 dice that you've got a 50-50 chance of getting over a 7? Roughly. Yes, there's more math, but basically if you roll 2 dice, if you get a 7 or above, and he's like, yeah. I'm like, cool. You now understand 90% of Trench Crusade, or at least how to play.
That's the statistics.
Yeah. So and his son was really interested, and he had come over and he was like, hey, he's like, my son really, wants to try this out. He's like, would you mind? I was like, oh, I'd love to. And I was like, I only have Trench Pilgrims and Black Grail printed out though at the moment. And I'm like, there's a lot of body horror stuff. And
no nuns.
No, I was like, and I'm like, I have some models that are just basically naked chicks. And he's like, that's kind of kinky. And I'm like, no, they're the official model. I'm like, well, no, they're not the official models. I'm like, but they're based off of the official artwork and all that. And he was like, he's fine. He's like, they're so tiny, he'll probably never notice. And I'm like,
did he notice?
To be fair, he didn't.
Oh, okay.
Oh, really?
It's like that meme with Shane that, no, wait.
Exactly. That's how I thought it was, but it was hilarious because he was much more interested in the Shrine Anchorite because it's a big scary robot and all that.
That's funny.
So yeah, he just never noticed because luckily because it's me, they weren't painted anyway, so they were just plastic.
It was just plastic.
Yeah, so he couldn't really tell anyway. But yeah, he was much more interested in, the freaking gross, the plague hounds and the big robot and all this. And it was hilarious where he was, once he started figuring out how to, and he picked up the game really quickly. It was really fun. And as soon as we played our first game, he was like, I would make this better. He's like, I'm going to make my own character that he can do. He just made him super OP. He's like, he gets the chain maw from the werewolf, and he gets the -2 dice from the amalgam. And I'm like, oh yeah, you're just going to add all of the cool stuff from all the good characters and put that all together, all the pros and none of the cons.
That could be a special scenario where you have this super being, and everybody else tries to take it down.
It was funny.
If you head to Blood and Benediction, there is actually a scenario that we have a scenario where you have a massive amalgam that is nigh unkillable, and your whole job is as a team of people going in and taking it out. So that's our co-op scenarios.
Oh, Mike, you shouldn't talk about other Mike like that.
Hey, he's not here. I'm allowed to.
Yeah, we gotta rip him for not being here.
No, that leads into a good one. Is I don't know how much you want to reveal. I mean, obviously, anybody should go out to Blood and Benediction and check it out there. But that's one for when we've done kind of narrative campaigns, and Johnny put together a Christmas one where we had to fight Krampus and all that. Whenever we've done, fight the big baddie, one of the problems that we've run into is, we're like, oh, we'll give him 2 toughs or 3 toughs, and we'll make him a -1 dice on this. And, you know, like when we're looking at it on paper, we're like, oh my God, this guy's going to be so hard to kill. But when you get in game and you've got 2 or 3 people that are going against one dude, it's like, yeah, it was this big baddie that we were worried we wouldn't kill. We killed him by round 2.
Yeah.
Yeah. With the way that I've put this on Pablo, although I have the part when it comes to rules like overview and stuff like that, where it's. So I played a lot, to give you a bit of a background, I played a lot of War Machine at a fairly high level, and I played Magic, and my job is to be, how do I put it, the arsehole detector. So if he runs rules by me, I look at it and go, oh, this is how you could break it here, and you could break it here, and you could break it here, and I can make that, you know.
You and I are going to get along great.
and so he goes, oh, all right, well, give me a second, and he'll come back with stuff, and I go, all right, yeah, no, I can see how that's, yeah, no. I guess somebody could figure out how to break it again, but it's in that kind of Rube Goldberg, you'd need to spend quite a while to figure it out. But when it comes to the big guys, we made it so that it was a case of, right, you can't shoot him outside of this distance. And then as soon as you get into this distance, you are going to get attacked. And we give them out of activation attacks. It's kind of like the D&D lair actions kind of thing. And he's tough. Like, when we wrote it, he is tough. You will struggle. And there isn't a easy way to get around him. But
I have a question, by the way, when it comes to like game design or like that kind of scenario or like a character design. Do you take like inspiration from other games, like how they have maybe solved? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, of course, MTG and so on, but like other miniature games or is it like?
So I don't know how much we're going to talk about it.
Oh,
but a lot of the things that we're talking about with yourself and our new little rules thing, we were going backwards and forwards about how we were going to put this into effect, how it was going to be. And from old War Machine, there was they had really, really niche rules, which they've completely dropped nowadays. In the same way as Warhammer had very individual little strange scenario rules of destroying certain materials. And I'm like, I'm sure I remember these rules. And so we looked at them and went backwards and forwards and used that. But yeah, we take inspiration from all sorts of different sources. It's in the same way as Trench Crusade themselves do, you know?
Of course.
Yeah, and I know that's one thing that looking through some of the stuff that you have and haven't posted, really cool ideas with it. And I know one of the things, not to give away too much, because we already, yeah, we had talked about before is like we were talking about the tank pieces that we were talking about for terrain is one of the ideas that I had that Johnny and I were kicking around for more of a narrative thing that I thought would just be fun is what if we just made up a bunch of bogus rules and we're essentially playing 2 games on the same board where, you know, Johnny and I will play a tank game and, you know, we'll have these just massive tanks and him and I are going to shoot at each other. And what we'll do is, you know, just like with, you know, essentially give the tanks, you know, blast 8 or something like that. And when I shoot at Johnny's tank, you know, anything, you know, if I miss and it hits the ground, you know, 6 inches to the right of it, but it's got an 8-inch sphere because it's a giant tank, it's going to blow up and shoot, you know, anything that's within like a, you know, 16-inch radius.
To whom it may concern kind of shell.
Yeah, exactly. Because I'm like, how fun would that be? Because, you know, you could even have it where it's like you can attack the tanks, but just give them like, don't even tell the players that are, you know, playing, you know, official Trench Crusade, but, you know, they're playing and then it's like, oh, the tanks are also going, but you can try to fight the tank, but you don't know how many toughs it has and just give it like 14 toughs, you know. So it's like, sure, you can shoot it, but there's just no reason. Just you can. It's not even caring about you. Like your Shrine Anchorite, it means nothing to this tank. It's only all it cares about is shooting the other tank. It's just that you happen to be here, so yeah, you could hide behind the tank and use it as cover. But you know, if an errant shot misses the tank and blows up next to it, it's probably going to kill all your guys that are hiding behind the tank.
It's a roll quadrants. Everybody pause what they're doing now. Right, roll quadrants.
Exactly.
Cool. Everything within that quadrant now has to roll.
The Lannisters send their regards.
That could actually be a cool way. So I personally don't hope they never release rules for the Paladins and the Hegemons, just because I think they're way too big for the scale of the game. But I think if you were gonna do it,
it's the same way like Primarch should have never been introduced into 40K.
Yeah,
I agree exactly. But I think if you were going to do that, because people ask for it, that could be like a fun way to do it, where like the Paladin or the Hegemon are fighting, and it's just like, you're just kind of like mitigating the collateral damage around their battle, and they're just like killing each other on this like massive scale.
That's kind of what. Go ahead.
Go on. I was going to say, there was something like that in one of the games that I used to play where it was, they had dragons, but the dragons were only in the lore. And about 10 years previously, they put up a single piece of art, and the dragon is the size of a skyscraper. And people kept on asking, oh, we want a miniature for it, And you go, you'd get a foot. Like on a 4x4 table, you get a single foot. That's the entirety of the dragon that you would be able to represent on this tabletop. And somebody did it.
Oh wow.
That's great.
They just printed out a massive foot and they just went, cool, it moves. And everything on this side of the table dies.
Wow.
Congratulations. I just went, yeah, all right, fair enough. Do it. That's fine. That works for me.
I think when it comes to Trans Crusade, because I speculate that eventually they will move into like a larger scale game, probably like a different system. I think maybe at that point they might introduce like the kind of like super monster kind of.
Yeah. I think that, I do think that eventually they'll probably have like squad level stuff, and that's where you see like the I think there's art of it, like the larval beasts and all that stuff. That'll be cool. I'm perfectly fine with that. It's just like I'm sure people ask for, Hegemon rules. I'm sure people ask for Paladin rules. So it might just be like you can't stop the ball rolling kind of thing.
It depends. I think people seem to have a good enough. There are a few vocal minorities that want the tanks and they want the things like as movable, playable units, and I like that. But I think there's a lot of people who do just want to stick to the kind of almost warband, that scale of things.
Yeah.
And I don't know how many of that is people who played more time. Back in the day.
There's a good chance.
Like I introduced my partner to it, and he's played like Games Workshop games for longer than I've been alive. Well, no, not quite that long, but you know what I mean. And we started playing, and he just sort of looked at it and he went, "It's like more time. I'm playing more time again," and I'm like, "It's not quite." And he's like, "I like playing more time." I was like, "All right, fair enough. Okay, then, yeah, sure." It's exactly.
Well, did he know he was the same guy?
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. He just had that moment of going, all right, that makes sense. That kind of.
It's like, there you were this whole time.
Yeah, it's kind of funny where I've had there's a couple of guys in our group where Trench Crusade is, their first tabletop game. And I'm always trying to get people to go do other games because, like, I want to get into. I'd love to do Battlefleet Gothic, but it's dead
wow.
game at this point. And so I've been trying to talk to people to do like what's it called? Drop Fleet Commander. I think it's Drop Fleet something.
Yeah.
Namely me.
Because mainly Johnny, because Johnny's the only one that I know. I'm like, if I start either printing or getting stuff for it, that I could probably get him to do it too. Or if I buy 2 of them and I say, hey, look, I have them here, you play with these. He'll go learn the rules just to play it. So, because Drop Fleet does something like that would be interesting for Trench Crusade if they were to go that route where they have Drop Fleet, which is like the spaceship battles and all that, and then they have, I think it's Drop Site Commander or something, which is
Drop
like their
Zone.
or Drop Zone. Yeah, like I know they have different versions where it's like you've got the spaceships in space, and then when they get to a planet, then you play the other game where it's the more like a warband game or maybe more like a 40K. So it's like, maybe if they were to introduce the Hegemon and stuff like that with Trench Crusade, maybe if they just made like a separate system where it's still the same world and universe, but just make it a different game. Because I do think that as much as I would love to see tanks in Trench Crusade, I feel like they just don't really fit. I like the idea of it being a skirmish game. Personally, I don't want to see it go the route of, a full, tabletop war war game, because as much as I love my war games and I love my Warhammers and all that, I like Trench Crusade because I can go hang out with my friends and I can play it after work and get home before 10.
Yeah, it's quick. It goes through and it's of its own, and I think it adds to the desperation of the setting as well, because it's like, hey, you know how you've got those 8 guys or 6 guys or 5 guys, it very much depending. They could all die really quickly, and that's it.
Yeah, I love that.
And whereas if you have an army, you're like, oh well, 20 guys died.
Yeah, but there's 40 more behind them.
Yeah, exactly. Whereas it's like, here's your little band of ne'er-do-wells. They could just die, and that's it. Congratulations.
So
See, that's
my take on the tanks is, I agree they should not be a general part of the game. Like, you shouldn't be able to take them unless it's campaign and it's a scenario based.
Yeah.
Like, there should be like a specific
Yeah,
scenario.
I think that's how you
you could use it. Kind of like the dragon hunt scenario.
I would like to try. I would definitely like to try some tank rules. I've seen some interesting tank rules. I know they had a tank scenario. I think it was like Essen or something. It was in Germany, and they did have a tank scenario.
Actually, it was in Finland.
Oh right, it was RopeCon, right? RopeCon. Yeah, that's right.
Who was running it?
Yeah. So I never got any like feedback on that. But it looked. I mean, it looked cool as fuck. Like honestly.
I was talking to Guillem about it, and he said it went really well. Even though there was like, I don't remember, because it was like a multiplayer scenario. There was like, I think, it was the Hell versus the good guys, so to say. And the tanks were on the side of the like Hell forces. And I think there was maybe like 8 players or 10 players or something like that. It was like crazy multiplayer scenario stuff.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
Like a 5v5?
Yeah. But it's really like, I was following it because I was having like demo games next to it. And it seems to like flow really well. And also like the tanks, I don't remember the exact rules, like how Guillem wrote them, but they seem to kind of like work in that kind of like scenario style.
Okay.
Like, I think he had like some kind of cards or like special events that were like happening. The tank is like shooting some like smoke ammunition or something and creating like some smoke screens, and sometimes it like some kind of demon takes over the tank and it just approaches and shoots everywhere around it, like the
That's awesome.
allies and enemies alike. But yes, like that kind of like special scenario stuff, I personally could see it working, but maybe as like in a campaign narrative game of this like warband size, it would be like, at least to me, it would feel weird. Like, okay, my enemy is bringing like 10 normal like troop kind of guys, and then I have like this large tank and maybe like a few guys. It kind of feels like off balance. Is like weird.
Yeah, you don't want the knight problem where it's like how knights have done to 40k. It's just become a, now you're just bringing the skew army, and
are you taking a knight or are you taking an army that can kill a knight?
Right, exactly. And then it's like, okay, well, now the game is a stat check. Did I bring enough las cannons? Did I bring enough anti-tank? And yeah, there is that problem. So that's what I would be wary of. The rules that I read were pretty good. It was like, I can't remember the exact. It was basically you had so you out of action normally on a 12 up. A tank would be like out of action on a 15 up, and you can't roll that normally on a 2d6, so you have to like bloodbath and bring that value down. Like you bloodbath it and it goes to 15, then it goes to 14, and then 13, and then 12, and then it goes into a region, a range that you can actually kill it. I haven't played it myself. It seemed like that seemed like some fun way to implement it. But yeah, I am wary of it becoming just knights, the knight situation for Trench Crusade.
I mean, using it something like a almost like a natural disaster. It passes across the battlefield and it doesn't really care too much about what you're doing, but occasionally it will take pot shots and just have it entering one side of the battlefield, leave the other side of the battlefield. Did you survive that? Cool, wonderful. Continue the game.
Yeah, that'd be cool. And also like much better fits the narrative kind of. Like the big tank doesn't actually just stay there in the corner blasting everyone, but it's kind of like you said, like a disaster
and you can reskin
coming
it.
through.
And you can reskin it if you want it to be. Say, it's actually a massive, horrific form of the Black Grail, just pulsating across the battlefield. There we go. There's a different way of doing it.
Every faction having their own signature, like fucked up tank would be awesome though. That would be cool. Like a Black Grail tank, like a Plague tank, like the Plague Reaper from old, like Forge World stuff. That would be sick.
I almost like it more as a arbitrator tool for campaign play.
That's honestly, that's kind of where Johnny and I have been talking about is where we were like, what if we just basically made up our own game and we just had these tanks going and it's essentially its own game, and just whenever I miss, it's gonna just blow up this sector of the board and anybody over there, sorry, and then like, oh, you could hide behind the tank, but on its turn, it's going to move to take a better shot at that tank. Again, you're ants. It doesn't care about you, so it's going over there. If you happen to be in the way, or if it turns and it runs you over, that's your fault for getting next to a tank that's the size of a house.
You're going to learn today.
All right. Well, I know we've been going for a while here, so I do want to kind of start wrapping some things up. I don't want to hold you guys forever, as much as I would love to sit here and bullshit for ages. I know we've got some things in the works, and you're more than welcome to go into that if you want to. But I want to see, what is kind of up next for you guys. What is kind of the next things that you're working on, that you're willing to talk about, that you do want to put out there.
You first.
Okay. Of course. Currently, I've been. You mean like long term or just this month?
Anything. What do you got? What's something you want to put out there that you want the community to know about?
Well, currently, like, people that are aware of like how I usually do my releases, it's like I have tribes and Patreon, which means that you subscribe and you get like monthly miniatures and terrain. And previously, last year, I used to do like releases in a way that I work on like multiple factions at the same time, 2 factions, which meant that the releases happen like, let's say, in January I do Naval Raiders, and in February I do Trench Ghosts, and then it would just alter, like be bi-monthly. But now I'm moving into more like focused approach. I'm now wrapping up the Trench Ghouls and Naval Raiders, and after that I will move on the Black Trail stuff, and I'll be, at least in current plans, that I solely focus on that. So I can start. I already have the like Dirt's Bereaved stuff I did last year.
Nice.
But I will move into like fully focusing on the Black Trail stuff, and I have for that like my own like lore subfaction, the Pale Leech subfaction. I don't have any rules or anything like for it, but
No,
it's
yeah,
kind
I
of
was gonna
the
say because I
blue
remember
color.
seeing that
It's a very cool
you've
name.
done those.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, I was thinking like it's like the idea behind it is like the because Black Rail as a sickness, of course, it spreads, and leeches are kind of like a way in the medieval times to actually cure diseases. So instead, they are using them as a vector of transfer the disease, and also like storing the power, like the hellish
cool.
power or something. Like inside the leeches, there is like some liquid which has infused like hellish powers, because the leeches were originally
sick.
brought from like hell, and then there's this kind of mutation stuff going on that the leeches grab on their hosts, and they kind of exchange the fluids inside of them. And the longer the leeches stay on, and the deeper the connection, the mutation kind of starts to.
Yeah, I was gonna say because I know a lot of the like the Big Hungry and the original stuff is fly based, and there's a lot of like there's a fly that's stuck on them and sucking on them, and I'm like that a leech seems so much better from a standpoint of something that's attached and just constantly on you.
Yeah, and it's kind of like everybody gets the immediate reaction when they think about leeches. Like yeah.
Oh, I
And
saw
that's-
the mouth you sculpted, and my skin just went. Oh God, no. Between the leeches and ticks, that just makes my entire skin crawl. It was wonderful, wonderfully done. Perfect.
I do have
Mission accomplished.
Yeah, perfect.
I do have one request for Auntie. For your next terrain piece, I would love to see a TrenchFoot Society communication bunker or tower.
yes, and I remember we talked about this a few months ago, and it's still it's on the works, meaning that I didn't yet I didn't have chance to yet start it, but we will do it because I promised, and I always follow my promises.
We will wait patiently.
Yeah.
Some of us will. I'll wait impatiently.
I will do it. In fact, actually, because next month I'll be moving back to the ruined city, the brick town stuff. I think maybe the month after that, maybe in March, I can.
That was going to be my only request, is that when you do make it, just make sure that it has a lot of bricks.
Oh yeah, of course. I will.
Fuck you.
Use all the
Brick house.
brick terrains, and it's going to be the size of a full table. But to
Six-story
wrap it up,
building, brick building.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, and then masts. But yeah, to wrap it up. So if people are interested in the Black Rail stuff and also like random assortment of terrain, it's now is good time to join my tribes and Patreon. I have quite active Discord community too. There is, I think. Can you hear me, by the way, now?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I changed to Discord.
Yeah.
I'm just checking how many members I have currently here.
Have Discord grab the audio.
It's more than 200 people there, so it's a nice community and very nice people. So we talk there every day, and I post my stuff and so on. So go and check my stuff out.
I will definitely be joining that.
I need money for food. But yeah.
Awesome. And Sarah, how about you guys over there at Blood and Benediction? You got anything fun and interesting you got lined up for this year?
We've got a few more creators that have approached us. We've got. I'm not sure how many I can say. I can tell you the one that we're currently working on. Obviously, it's all dependent on times and abilities, so I can't nail down these are the ones we're going to do next month, these are the ones we're going to do next month, so on and so forth. We're doing Heresiarch miniatures at the moment. They've very kindly sculpted an exclusive Praetor for ourselves to give to our readers. We're about halfway through it. I think the next release is coming Thursday, and that will be the miniature and the scenario, I believe. I've been working on the little videos for that thing. There's already a short story that has been written up that was released. But yeah, we've got a few creators in the back pocket and speaking to more people. But it's nice. We're just having creators come and go, hey, could you feature us? Yeah, sure. Brilliant. Wonderful.
Well, when the time comes,
yeah.
That's so cool.
I think I can't speak for us all, but I think we'd love to be a part of that as well.
Oh, yeah. Oh, God. You
Oh,
guys
Yeah,
are
we will get
wonderful.
the stone rolling with
Yeah.
our cooperation
Yes.
stuff with everyone.
Oh yeah, for sure. I'm looking forward to this. There's a lot of interesting stuff behind the scenes that definitely, you know, some of it's going to be coming out soon. Once some more stuff gets a little bit nailed down, just to give everybody a little bit of a teaser. You know, expect some fun stuff coming. You know, but yeah, this has been
Expect a wall-shattering excitement.
Well said.
very well. Yeah, I mean, again, like this has been a ton of fun. I really appreciate you guys coming on. You know, this definitely something. Hopefully you guys would like to come back. We'd love to have you back on at any time. I know we're going to be, obviously, you know, as we've said, we're talking about some stuff. We didn't get to everything that we had on the list that we were going to go over, but I didn't expect it. We very rarely ever do get to most of it.
We'll
There's,
just have to
too
do
much.
another episode in the future.
I know it just means you have to come back now.
Yeah.
Oh,
For
no.
sure, for sure.
Oh, no. The lobster is too buttery in my face.
But definitely, we will put it all in the description down below on both YouTube and on Spotify and everywhere else. But you know, can you guys give us the last quick thing of where can people find you? Where's the best place to get your stuff? What's the best way people can get in touch with you guys?
You go first, Sarah.
Oh, fine. So you can find us on Patreon at Blood and Benediction. And you can also find the Instagram, which is, and I'm terrible for not knowing it off by heart because I'm just, you know, it's one of those ones where you're so used to just flicking to it yourself that and you link it and anyway. So it is Blood and Benediction, then an underscore. On Instagram, and I'm sure you'll put a link to it. I'll send it.
Yep,
the link
we'll
through
get that all in the
to put up.
description and everything.
If you want to post any of your Trench Crusade stuff, we'd love to have a see of it. You can tag us. We'd love to take a look. And if you also build and paint any of the miniatures that we feature, we would love to feature that on our Instagram as well.
Awesome. And then, Auntie, where what's the
Yes,
best place for you?
Well, I already did some shameless promotion just a moment ago, but
That's what we're here for.
Again.
yeah,
Do it.
That's repetition is the best way to brainwash people. But you can find me from my Factory. You just write to the search there, Diceverse, or you write Diceverse to the Google. But yes, the ways to get my miniatures either from my Factory or from Cults 3D. If you use my Factory, I get a bit more money because they don't take as big cut as in the Cults 3D. So I recommend that. And
That's where
if
I
you want
buy
to
all of
receive,
them.
oh sorry,
That's where I buy all of them from. Is my
Yes.
manufacturer.
yes, and also like there's like different campaigns. Usually my Factory runs. Like there is sales campaigns. I think maybe like every 4 months. I think the next one is probably during summer. Usually I have like minus 30% over the sales period. But yes, you can buy the separate files through that, or you can join my tribes or Patreon, where you get approximately a few kits of miniatures per month and 1 to 2 kits of terrain. And it's the best value is to join the tribes or Patreon because you get the biggest like discount per kit through that. And you can also find me from Instagram. It's Diceverse Minis. I'm quite lazy updating there. And if you try to contact me through Instagram, I'm very slow to respond, unfortunately. So because I'm just so bad at using it. So please contact me through Discord. I'm in the unofficial official server. You can just I don't remember exactly my like the Discord tag, but Diceverse and in brackets Antti is my name. So you can just send me a private message if you want to reach me for some reason.
Quick, everybody flood him.
Yes. spam. So yeah, that's the way to reach me. And
Awesome. Yeah, and anybody, you can also reach us on the TrenchFoot Society podcast at gmail.com. You can find us on our Discord. If you have any questions for us, if you've got questions for Blood and Benediction or Auntie over at Diceverse, if you have questions for them and you can't figure out or get hold of them, you can always reach out to us and we can also help. We're all a big community. We all talk to each other, so we can, we'll get the question there.
You can also find us on Patreon.
That's true. I forgot. We have our own Patreon now, don't we?
You need to advertise.
Yes.
TrenchFoot
Promote
Society.
yourself.
Forgot we have that. Yeah, we've got the TrenchFoot Society at patreon.com. So please, if you'd be so kind as to go follow us there. I believe we have a free tier, and we're working on getting some behind the scenes stuff to go for some of the paid tiers, which hopefully if you guys would bless us for at least a few more minutes here to do a little bit of an after show of just kind of hanging out for a few minutes to that we tend to put up on there. But yeah, that's also going to be there as a new thing for 2026.
Oh, and one more thing. If you're running the Cabal of Assassins list, 3 assassins don't get tough.
Yeah, make sure you don't cheat. Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much. We'll see you guys again soon, hopefully.
I hope so too. Thank
Thank you so much, guys.
Yeah.
It's nice to be here.
Thank you. Before we pull back from the line, we want to thank the ones keeping us supplied. Our Patreon supporters, Branny, Diceverse, Auto Graffiti, Pablo, Michael C., and Rami. You're the reason this broadcast survives the bombardment. If you're looking to get boots in the mud, there's a monthly Trench Crusade meetup at Schmali's Gaming Cave Cafe every third Tuesday in Crown Point, Indiana. On February 22nd, Dragon's Lair Comics and Fantasy in Austin, Texas is hosting a Trench Crusade narrative tournament. 3 rounds, no quarter given. Trench Crusade demos will also be running at GothCon in Gothenburg, Sweden, April 3rd through 5th, and at InCon in Innsbruck, Austria, April 25th, 2026. And don't miss the March to the Front, the tournament by Feel No Paint in Sheffield, United Kingdom, on March 15th, 2026. For support, contact, or reinforcements, find us on Patreon or email us at trenchfootsocietypodcast@gmail.com. Until next time, keep your head down, your faith close, and your boots in the mud.